Welcome to presentation 3.2 of the handbook about how you can date Chinese porcelain from facial features and adornments in a decoration of a piece. This part will show some case studies how you can use the book in an effective way. This part is case study 2, a brush vase. You found this very nice brush vase on a flea market. You can see it's probably from China, but you don't know how old it is. As always when you are trying to judge a piece, turn it upside down and look at the base to see if it gives some clues. The base has a normal foot ring and a stamp mark. Look at page 158 to see if there are any shortcuts for this form of base. Yes, brush vases and hat stands later than 1915 have often B-ring unglazed foots. And stamp marks seems normally occur first from about 1870. These features are rule of thumbs and can of course have exceptions, but probably the vase can be something between 1870 to 1915. Let's look at the faces to see if we can pinpoint the date. Now we shall look for features of the boys and the man that can help us dating the piece. Most of the boys have braided hair tufts, my code HO25. One boy has a tonsure, so-called monk hair, my code H7. The man has a cap with no flaps, my code H920. And all of them have black outlines. Let's see if these features can give some clues for dating purposes. We start to look when hair braided tufts normally occurs. Look at page 15. Most of them occur about 1890 to 1930, as you can see in the diagram, with a peak about 1910. There are few finds earlier, but they are not visually braided and lacks the string cords. The tonsure hair you will find at page 17. The diagram says it's mostly a pair from 1870 on forward, even if there are finds earlier. They have a peak about 1920. The cap with no flaps, my code H920 on page 20, also appear in many periods, but are most popular about 1870 to 1920. The diagram about outlines is in page 12. Black outlines seems to occur mostly 1880 to 1950, with a peak in the period 1900 to 1920. Try to see if these features together can give a probable period for the piece. What is the lowest common denominator of these features? I think we can say about 1890 to 1930. Now we have a possible period of the piece. Let's see if we also can find the face category the faces on the piece belong to. Go to page 38 then. There you have a cross chart with periods to the left and the 9 different face categories I have identified in the top. We look at the proposed period 1890 to 1930. The letter X shows the category that occurs when. In this case, there are many categories, 16 to 24, and also 28. Let's look closer at them. Here you have the 29 categories, and you find them in page 33. Each category normally are presented with faces from men, women and children, but in this chart you can only see a selection. We remove those pictures that are not relevant categories in this case and try to find the category which best corresponds to the man and boy on the piece. Here you have the selection, category 16 to category 24 and category 28. The boys and the man on the piece have black outlines and the ears and cheeks very highlighted in iron red. The best category seems to be category 22. Let's take a look at the description of category 22 for faces of men and see if that category fits. You will easily find the page for category 22 by looking at the bottom right of the pages. If you've done it right, you will find the description on page 124. Compare the features that identify this category with our men on the piece. Iron red highlights? Yes, it seems right. Mouth often highlighted with a red dot? Yes. Double bottom eyelid? No, our men don't have it. Headgear? Yes. Distinct black outlines? Yes. Often moustaches and goatees? Yes. Most seems right, and the painting style fits absolutely. If you read further down the page about the special features of men, You will also find that the double bottom eyelid is not necessary to identify it as a category 22. Now, when we have identified the category, we shall see if we can find similar faces among the 12 examples on page 125. We compare our men on the piece and found 5 men who are very similar in painting style. All of them have a red flag on the top right. That means the presented date comes from a piece with a fixed date. In this case, 904, 914, 915, 918 and 919, which give a result for our brush race to about 1915 plus minus 10 years. As the base previous has pointed to an earlier date than 1915, it's probably more likely 1910 plus minus 5 years. I have chosen this brush race as it has a poem with a cyclical date, so we can value our result in real. The cyclical date is Ren Thi, which is 1852 or 1912 or 1972, or every 60 years before these dates. As we have dated the piece already by the faces to about 1915, 1912 has to be the correct date. So even if a piece has a cyclical date, it's wise to date it with the faces first. It's also easier to look for the right date character if you know an approximate date. This is the end of case 2. It resulted in a probable date 1915 plus minus 10 years by using my book. The actual date of the piece was 1912, which in my opinion show how well facial features can be a help for dating purposes. This case study uses step-by-step investigation, but the more you use the book, the easier it is to find probable dates. With a little practice, you certainly will make shortcuts how to use the book, but it's always good to return to the roots from time to time. I wish you good luck when using my book to date your pieces. I'm sure you will appreciate it. If you enjoy this lecture, please like, share, and of course, subscribe. More cases will come. You can find more information about the book and how you can purchase it on my home site, dragonsface.se. Many thanks for listening.